So now that that is done with, we are now going to work with our very first event. In my previous video, I said we are going to work with events in this project to communicate between the different scripts. So different things doesn't we don't need to do a lot of sloppy code to let the scripts communicate with one another. In this particular case, however, I'm going to do it the hard way, the non-elegant way, and I'm simply going to create a game manager, or on the game manager, I'm going to create a region. I'm just going to place this, check for overlapping cells in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to create a public void method, cell moved. And the reason for this, each time I'm going to move a cell. So on mouse down, we are calling move cell. But I think I want that to return a Boolean. So in logic, and I'm going to show you now why I think that is, how I'm going to use that is, okay, so if none of this works, right at the bottom, I'm going to say return false. What I'm going to say, if it performed a move, I'm going to return not a transform, true. And I'm going to use that in my on mouse down. So I'm going to, while calling this method, the move cell method, I'm going to say if we move the cell, if I get a positive, a true Boolean back from that method, I'm going to go to game manager dot instance dot, and under this I'm going to search for cell moved, and under the game manager all I'm going to say is, now the reason I'm not passing any more data to this method is it doesn't need to know what cell moved, it only needs to know that a cell moved. And we are going to test that right now. As you can see, both times I moved the cell, it said cell moved, but if I click on the rest of the cells, it does not say that. Now we can use this to see if we solve the puzzle. So I'm going to create another region. And the first thing we are going to create here is a method. First thing we are going to create is a method, check if when. We are going to use all of this code we already created, and we're going to use that to see if the board is in the win state. So all I'm going to say is with calculate board is I'm going to say, please return a list of integer. And right here, after I set board to temp list, I'm going to return that tmp dot to list. And now with check if when, I can say var x equals to calculate board. Now, obviously you want to name these things like board or anything meaningful. I have a tendency to call my variables x, q, y, anything that I do not have to type out, but that's a really bad habit, especially if you want to, especially in the work environment. So I would recommend not doing, do what I say, not what I do. So now we have the board, we now need to check if it corresponds with the win state. So what we can do is we can create a for loop of I that will go from 0 to 8. So with our current board, Okay, so we are going to go through the board or through a list from 0 to 9, and we are going to see if our cell values range from 0 to 8. So if our board position 0 is equal to 0, it won't return false. So it will skip the if statement and go to the next iteration of the loop. And we can keep that going through the whole list. If there's something that does not match, we can return false, get out of the loop. Sorry, there's one thing not in place. We don't need to continue. So on cell move, we can simply print when if. So hopefully the code works if we go back into Unity. So if we click on 7, it should display nothing. If we click on 7 again, we did not get our message. Okay, so with me being completely stupid, I forgot that we only have 7 pieces. So once the for loop gets to position 8 in the previous for loop, what happens is the board does not have an 8th index, and if it have an the board has an 8th index, but that value is -1 because it represents the empty block. So what it gives us is a false value, therefore we can never win. So our for loop should go from 0 to smaller than 8 instead of 8 to smaller than 9. So if we go to Unity, we play, and if we click on 7, we will see we don't get a win. Click on 4, we don't get a win. And so we can go around, and as soon as I click on 5, we should get a win. Yes, we do. So that'll be it for this video. Please leave any suggestions or questions in the comments. And have a nice day.